This is the Folsom Winter Criterium 2-3 race. John had already raced once today. John and I are in this race, and we have Pete and Amber with us to analyze the race. We're just going to look at the last 3 laps. Everything before this, we just kind of sat in, really easy, chill, nothing interesting. We made some mistakes at the end. Mistakes were made. And I think... So basically what the mistakes boil down to are miscommunication between John and I, because John was going to be my lead-out man about where the lead-out stops and ends. So Pete and Amber, how do you communicate? So I think I know the answer to this, but we did this at the back of my car. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What would have been a better way to do it?
Oh man, it's a lot about planning exactly what's going to happen, but then having the audible so that if the plan doesn't go exactly according to plan, you guys have the words you need to say to each other to make sure you can do something on the fly in the race.
Did you do signals in the middle? Like, what if this didn't happen here, but what if a lead-up man gets burnt out?
Yeah, Amber, do you have anything special for that?
Yeah, just pay attention to your teammates and talk to each other during the race. You want to have a lot of communication with your teammates during the race leading up to the lead out. You want to make sure that everybody's got the legs to be a part of the lead out. So by the time you're actually executing the lead out, you know that everybody on your team who's going to be taking part has the legs to do a lead out. And of course, you also want to know that your sprinter is feeling good enough to sprint. So there should be a lot of communication throughout the race with all of your teammates. And then when you get to the lead out, it's no different. You want to have a lot of communication in the lead out as well. My rule of thumb was always with my teams, you communicate from the back to the front, which means that the sprinter is telling the lead out where to go. So the sprinter is saying whether to speed up, slow down, move left, move right. But, like Pete said, anything can happen. One of my favorite quotes is by Mike Tyson. Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face. So, even with all of this communication and even with having a solid plan, you really have to be ready and able to make those changes on the fly if necessary.
I think, too, we could have probably pre-rode the course together and been like, okay, here's where we kind of want to be positioned this last corner. So right now we're getting into, I think this is beginning of 2 laps to go. John, expertly, without many watts, look at my watts here. I'm just like, just follow John, 100 watts. We're now at the front of the field with 2 watts to go, and we've been saving energy the whole time.
Not quite the front. So we have 3 riders that are up the field, and we don't want to be the first riders necessarily right here, but this has been a really sketchy race. That's something we didn't say, like 5 crashes probably in this race. And we stopped. We had to stop mid-race, so we were pretty worried about getting swarmed. So at this point, I started to move to the front and just keep a stronger pace because I knew one thing with this course is that if we control the inside line, then we control a lot of the outcome of the race. Because it's such a long bend, you can really control where people are going to come around you in most cases. Yeah. So that was kind of the priority, and I thought, okay, well, if these riders are up the road, they're not going to stick, and then we have, everybody behind me, I'll just keep it at the front and kind of police it since I'm not going to be the one sprinting. Was the plan. Pete, good plan, bad plan?
Yeah, good plan. One of the really good opportunities is right here and now. You guys should have kind of picked out your landmarks that you were going to sprint and do your lead-out tell. If you guys are pre-riding the course, that's another great time to pick those out. But Nate, you should have seen, okay, John, I can take the inside line just like we talked about in the car and just take it into that last corner. So you've kind of been doing a long lead-out though, John.
Too long, really.
Yeah.
I think that this is a situation where the concern for safety started to overrun our strategy because it was genuinely a scary race. So I kind of figured get to the front and keep it safe.
Yeah, keeping things safe is a legit reason to want to take over the front early. I've seen this happen a lot in races that I've been in. Keeping the pace high definitely keeps things safer. And a lot of people don't want to be the first one to initiate that high speed, high lead out speed going in toward the finish. So oftentimes the field will actually be happy to let you take over and take control of the front. That means sometimes you can take control of the front without having to go at full lead out speed, which is great. It does put you in a precarious position. It's not ideal, but I do think it's a great strategy, and I think sometimes it's actually really the smart move, even if it does sacrifice the quality of the lead out.
Okay, let's back up for a second, because the interesting parts just started to happen. Okay, so what happens here now is you can see the little breakaway up the road. This is the last lap, so I'm thinking they're probably like cursing your name, John. And then also at the same time, on the left side, you see some guys come, and I think I yell like up or something like that.
Yep.
And John does
Great tip.
I think the right exact thing is he goes up, with just hearing me say it. You see Legion do this all the time in their videos. I think someone should just yell up all the time to them. But
yeah, and I think that the helpful thing is you yelled left right here. So I knew that somebody was coming on my left, couldn't quite see them, and just picked it up so that they couldn't close out our inside line. And then this group, I was hoping and praying it would unfold this way, that we could tuck to the inside. I'm surprised they didn't block the inside.
Yeah, this is perfect, right? And John's comfortable riding the gutter. I'm surprisingly am too, and that was good. And then right here, I was hoping that we would stay far right. And this is when the guy comes right in the left, right there.
Yep, and I was expecting you to come around. Whew.
And I go, he kind of pushes you out. I go the long way. I lose a lot of speed, and then I just do my best to sprint on the inside.
So let's rewind.
Let's go back to that point.
And talk about the plan versus actual.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting point because, like you said, we talked about the points on the course beforehand from the car, but we didn't actually point them out. So we'll pause right here.
Yep, I'm thinking right here, this is where we should be in the gutter on the right side because this is the inside line.
Yep.
We shouldn't be far left. I think you wanted me to launch from here.
No, this is a mistake on my end, on a line deviation basically. I looked back behind me to see where you were at, kind of just under my shoulder, and when I did that, I let myself drift too far left.
So I could have been saying, I got it, go, John. I could have been like
where you were.
Yelling at you because you don't know. And
Yeah.
you shouldn't ever have to look back. Is that right?
Exactly.
Amber, you were a lead out in Europe, right?
Yeah.
What kind of communication do you want to hear from the people behind you?
As much as possible.
Yeah, constant communication is the key. Nate should be saying, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm here, I'm ready.
And here, what I could have said too is I didn't realize this till after the fact, but I could have said, go, stay right. You actually did this to Tucker in the previous race.
Correct. Yeah. So let's play through. So you'll see me kind of recognize, and then I swoop back in to try to cover.
But he's already there.
And
look at the shadows.
Yeah, if we pause here, from here it's a straight line to that turn from where I'm at. I'm pointed a little further left just because of the pedaling action, but it's basically a straight line to block the inside to the left. And at this point, our plan, right, Nate, when we talked about it, was maybe 15 bike lengths before that last turn or so, somewhere around there. You swoop to the inside and take that turn first, ahead of me.
In my mind, I had Legion, where you stay far right, and then you swoop out, and I just swoop right in and cut inside of you, and no one can ever undercut us.
And we misunderstood that. Nate's thinking more in the turn he makes the pass. I was thinking ahead of the turn he makes the pass.
Yeah, in the turn, right? And you to get that kind of like rail that like good line, and everyone else gets slowed down.
The reason for that's interesting on this one is the fact that if you do have somebody that is, if I close off that line a little bit too much, it can really kill momentum coming out.
Yeah.
So it's clear to like make sure that you have those points communicated, right, Amber?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a key point. It's something you can definitely decide when you're previewing the course together ahead of the race. Another thought, though, is that move by Legion that Nate's describing. It's a great move. It's a wonderful tactic that helps a lead out keep control of the front of the race. But I do think that it tends to work better on corners that are not quite as sweeping as the ones that we see in this race.
Yeah, because this one, even though it feels tight, it's actually pretty broad. Let's play through it really quick. It actually, because the exit is so wide, right here, it's pretty broad coming out.
There's so much run out.
There is a long ways, but you can see I took the long line and he took the short line.
Sure.
And that was worth a good amount.
Yep.
I got fifth, which is still, there was
74, I think. 71.
Yeah, there were a lot of people in that field. So I'm still proud of it. And thank you, John.
Sure.
But
let's rewind.
Yeah, let's go back to the shadows. So when they swing out right here, when I move left, exactly. See the shadow?
Yeah.
That's when the shadow moves in. And that is when I'm starting to get pushed out now from these people there. And I should have this is when I should have gone, right? If they're coming by, is that right, Pete?
Yeah, if you feel the pressure from behind you, and especially the shadows are perfect. If you're seeing anything by your back wheel, and you should be able to tell that John's not accelerating anymore, and if you're in the last 500 meters and your lead-out man isn't accelerating anymore, and you have a long sprint like you do, man, just light the match and go.
I got stuck on thinking, okay, my lead-out man's in front of me, so I'm going to try to stick on the wheel rather than like reacting to how the race is unfolding.
Yep.
So let's talk about the right line that this rider does. Maybe, Amber, you can kind of point out how, when he went through this line, how he did it right, the Swift rider that we see. You can see Shark in the water moving up. I actually thought that was Nate because this was the plan in my mind, is that Nate would be coming through, and I thought Nate was coming. It was not Nate.
I was going to come through like right here. It's like, that's in my mind.
Yeah.
But again, I did not
on the
respond.
outside of me.
I did not respond. Yeah, because I got pushed out. There's another rider, if you see another helmet, coming by.
So Amber, why would you want to make that move at that point, kind of like inside?
Well, he's going to be able to get the line he wants to the corner and carry max momentum. The other thing is he doesn't know if you're going to try to shut this down. So this is his opening. Plus, he knows that when he comes around you, he might even get a little bit of room. Like you might even make a little bit of room for him because you're probably going to think that it's Nate.
He does. He's so clever. Yep.
Yeah, so he knows you're not likely to do anything to shut it down when you're thinking he's your guy. So this was just an amazing window of opportunity for him, and he really nailed it.
Yeah, he swings a little wide into that turn. Probably didn't need to do that. It was pretty sketchy. Couldn't tell from there, but pretty close to the front wheel. Rolls in, and then when he rolls through, Nate, you're on the outside.
There. Yeah, just like the difference in speed. That's what I'm talking about, is attacking in the corner and then going on the outside. How many bike lengths is that? 8?
Oh, yeah.
You can't overtake that.
No, you can't do that.
And he's going 2 miles an hour faster than you are,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Right. I think part of that is a line, and part of it there was a moment where you were startled. So not only did you not get the line that you wanted, but you also hesitated, either actually slowing down or not accelerating to the degree you otherwise would have. Because I think that even with this line, if you had just launched your sprint the second you saw that shadow, even if you were going around the outside and got pushed out a little, I don't think that you would have been quite as far behind as you are, as we see you are here in the video.
The interaction between the Swift Rider and John, you saw there's a little bit bobble, and that it probably improved my sprint. But for a second, I slowed down, and I hesitated, thinking of my safety rather than, let's look at that bobble, rather than the actual line. Go back a little bit.
So right there, this is an interesting
that's
thing.
close.
Yes, as you can see, it looks like our wheels are almost touching, and they almost were. There's something about turns, and I call it the truck driver. Like a lot of the time you'll see like a big truck, when it has a left-hand turn, it swings real wide before that left-hand turn, right? And so it'll swing right and then cut in. And we have a tendency to do that. It was actually aggressive but intelligent on his side, because that really shut me down.
Yeah.
So if that was his intent, that's great. If his intent was just to clear the corner, it wasn't necessary. But if it was to shut me down, he successfully did that.
He shut me down too.
Yep. It basically made it so that anybody to the left of him, which is everybody at this point, doesn't have a chance there. So even though he did end up getting beat in the sprint, but just the same. Kind of a tricky move, but a dangerous one. But hey, it shut me down. Whoomp, right there.
Yeah, that's the bobble. I was like, oh.
And then there's one rider that's just sitting in the wings and makes it happen.
Yeah, that was the wheel to beat.
Kenny Tsuda. Good job, Kenny.
Yeah. So mistakes were made. It's a little frustrating because I feel we did so well, and it's only like 2 seconds, right? If I would have launched 1 second earlier on the inside,
difference.
It would have been it.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's why we do these videos, right? Because after the fact, if we didn't do these videos, we would never have known.
You would have felt like, I was right there. I don't know. I just didn't pop the sprint.
A lot of times, too, the way you rethink of a race is not the way it unfolded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Almost every time I look at the race, I'm like, oh, shoot. I could have seen those, right? Those shadows now.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Nice job, Nate. And John.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, that was a great lead out.
Thanks, Amber.
Okay, just one thing I want to point out here. Here, the Davis rider, he flips my camera off, but I don't really mind about that. But then he reaches on my bike and moves the camera up. I don't know if it's a joke or what, but it's not cool. Probably dangerous, guys.
Yeah, that is a big no-no. Don't go out of your way to touch other people's bikes. I mean, unless it's a situation where you have to in order to keep people safe, which, let's be honest, that's really rare. Just don't do it. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep your hands to yourself. Just don't touch anybody else while you're riding.
That is a good rule of thumb right there.
If you like that video, subscribe to our channel and like this video that you just watched. Leave a comment down below. All of that sort of thing helps us out.
If you want to see more race analysis videos, click on me.
And if you want your coaching questions answered, click on me.
And finally, if you want to find out more about what we do here at TrainerRoad, head over to TrainerRoad.com.